Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Living Astrology with Janet. It's time to grab your cup of coffee or your tea, sit back and relax while we talk about what is happening in the stars above. And of course, today you see my friends with me, Pia and Cullen, joining us to talk about who knows what. We never know what is actually going to come up, right? Welcome,
Right.
you two. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Happy
We love being here with you.
and happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Yes, happy Valentine's Day. Or as my husband just wrote to everybody in the family, happy VD Day.
Okay.
My husband has such a funny sense of humor. Odd would be the case, right? I shouldn't say that. He might be watching this morning. Um, anyway, it's great to have you with us. And behind the scenes this morning, everyone, we were kind of chatting about volcanoes because it seems like there is a lot of earthquake volcanoes. And Pia, is there anything in the calendar that would point us to Mother Earth being so restless at this point in time?
Not really. It just gives us the cycles of energy of how to deal with it. I think it's what comes in from the stars is very different from what Gaia is deciding to do with it. So this
Yeah.
really points to that. If it were in a collective shadow cycle, I could say yes, but there isn't anything like that going on right now. So I think it's just the beginning of something.
I think it's the beginning of a huge process.
Yeah, I do too.
When astrologers, psychics, channelers all talk about 2025 is going to be an amazingly different, possibly challenging, but revolutionary year, I think all of this activity on the earth, in the earth, is part of that. Not that it's going to be just political or just financial. I think it's absolutely part of the physicality of where we live.
And if this is the beginning of lots of things expanding, changing, blowing up, whatever, and if it is related in some way to the collective shadow cycle, I would say hold on to your hats because the next collective shadow cycle is in September. And I know there's a lot in Western astrology going on in September too, but if we are just ramping up, then hold on to your hats in September.
I don't wear a hat because my head's too big, but if I wore one, I'd hold on to it. And you know what's really fascinating about that timing, Pia, is that starting in September, from September, I want to say September 11th until November 9th of this year, Pluto begins its move into the out of bounds territory in the southern declination. And there's a whole book written. Did I tell you to get this book, Pia, the Persephone's Revolution?
No, but I will.
This book, oh my gosh, this woman is most brilliant. And she's an astrologer herself, but she was in this book, she's talking about how Pluto is moving into, for the next 10 years, in and out of a southern declination that puts it outside of the normal, which is out of bounds, which means an extreme expression of whatever planet has been there. Well, Mars has been in out of bounds territory and will be until March. And we can see all kinds of these explosions and, things that are just, mind blowing that are going on. But Pluto is the death planet, right? Death and rebirth. So when you see an out of bounds Pluto, it can be, treacherous times, right? Treacherous times. And he's not there consistently for the next 10 years, but in the next 10 years, Pluto moves in and out of that southern declination, which happens to have a theme around reform. So isn't that interesting?
And it begins with the dates you just gave me in coincidence and synchronicity with the collective shadow cycle. So I guess we're just in the warm-up phases.
I guess we are. What's funny too is that I was sharing with my audience, I think it was on Monday, maybe it was last Friday, that I woke up one morning and I suddenly had this thought about preparing, I call myself now a mini prepper because I don't want to go to the extremes, but I started thinking about how it might be difficult this year for fields here in the USA to get harvested, because most of the people that harvest in those fields are illegal immigrants or immigrants in some form or another. And if they're all being shipped back to their countries, then who's going to harvest the fields? So then I went, okay, then my real solution, because I don't know if or when that will happen, is to grow my own food and to, come together with my daughters, mostly because they live, close to me. So we bought all kinds of different canning things and have these plans. My one daughter's already gone and she's got a whole survival kit thing going on. I haven't gotten that far yet. But it was an amazing thought that sort of came up with all of us at that time, at least in my family, about preparing for, some crazy times ahead. And so I spent a good part of this week, besides working, making bread, learning the different ways of making bread. Sourdough bread, we have a sourdough starter that we did and all of this. And, I'm wondering if others out there, you guys can all chime in out there in the listening world and tell us how you're feeling about that. But what do you guys think about those kinds of things? Are you feeling that kind of pressure?
Well, we don't feel the pressure of it because we've actually been doing that for 10 years. Everywhere we go, we have an emergency supply for us and the community.
Yeah.
So that's pretty rote for us. But what's interesting for us is we were in the grocery store the other day and we saw a metal box about this big, is that about right? Full of emergency food.
It was so heavy.
You couldn't even hardly pick it up.
We've never seen anything here where we live that's designed for the future, for emergency or catastrophe.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there were 2 of these boxes and they were exceedingly expensive
And exceedingly heavy
for this market. I mean, these boxes were like, I don't know, 150, 175 euros per item. And we thought, wow, we didn't think this country was even involved in future thinking about, how to take care of ourselves. Larkma told us, gosh, more than 10 years, Pia, maybe as far back as 15 years ago, Larkma said, you need to have enough food for 6 months. You need to have enough light, meaning flashlights and batteries, candles, blankets,
food that you can cook yourself without it having to go into an oven.
Yeah, I mean, we did that.
For cooking.
We were really nomadic in those years, and we did every community we moved to. We bought tons of stuff. We dedicated a room in every house we lived in. It was floor to ceiling stuff.
And then when we moved from that house to the next place in another state, the community where we were profited from everything that we had collected, and we started over again.
We gave it all to food banks every time we moved.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So yeah, we've been thinking about this for a long time.
Yeah. That's funny because I hadn't really. I mean, we always keep a good supply of things anyway because of the winters and, you never know, if the power's going to go out or things like that, but never really thought of it in this bigger way, that of putting away food and growing your own food for those reasons. So just an interesting shift, I think, in the way that we think. And the shift, as I see it, is one towards self-sufficiency, which is an astrological signature of the times that we're in, and likely to get louder when Neptune and Saturn both move into Aries in March and in May. So it's a theme, I think, that we're picking up on, where the government or the institutions don't support anymore in the way that they used to.
Yeah.
We can't depend on them in the way that we used to. So therefore we must be self-sufficient. And it can be, in your own family or community level, your town that you live in, or in my case, the island that I live on. But it's self-sufficiency is the whole name of the game.
Yeah. Pia, 20 years ago or more, invested in a company that made I don't know what to call it.
Hydroponic.
Well, no, it's hydroponics, but they designed I don't know what to call it.
There was food that was grown in water instead of earth that you could grow in your kitchen.
But it was a big stand that had lots of receptacles or cups
for growing all kinds of foods.
All kinds of things.
Lights to go on it to make it grow, to make sure it got enough light, and you could grow your own food there in your own kitchen or somewhere in your house.
So it's been there have been companies that were far reaching, looking forward, designing things like this. So somebody has been involved in this kind of process for a long time.
We're at the point now where we're focusing more on getting nurturance from each other as we become more loving and supporting of each other, our community, having nurturance from the sun, recognizing that food is not the only way that we sustain ourselves. We're focusing on it on an energetic level at this point, although we do still have to eat. We know that, but we're focusing upon what can we do to nourish ourselves energetically. Yeah, that's where we're turning our focus.
And focusing on that helps create community. And the more people that we surround ourselves with who have the same ideas about food preparation and taking care of ourselves, that grows community stronger and stronger and stronger. So I think your idea of your family getting together and doing this is really a good idea.
Yeah, well, I have a large family, so we form our own little community. I would say of the maybe 17 or 18 of us that live on this part of the island, or the part of the county that I live in, we could, sustain ourselves quite well. So it's just an interesting thought that it's a theme I'm seeing, along with this very powerful AI theme that is like blaring almost as a warning to us at this time, astrologically. I was just, before I got on with you this morning, I was listening to a couple of astrologers talking about the times that we're in astrologically. What is the astrological signature as it relates to AI, artificial intelligence? And it's quite daunting, actually, when you see it and when you hear it. It's very actually depressing, but always there is the opposite of that too. That can be, what is the highest use of this technology, or the highest use of this information that's coming in? But that seems to be the next big thing that we as humans are going to have to weigh in on. We've been noticeably quiet about it. In fact, I see not much going on with us humans these days, saying anything about anything. Like we're just quietly watching everything crumble around us, and
it's getting more loud. The AI is getting more vocal. I tried to secure a tax document today of one of our streams of revenue, and I was trying to do it online the way I usually do it, and I got an AI helper responding saying, "I'll help you. What do you need?" And I never click on those things, and there was no other way to get into the information. So I clicked on it, and it said, by clicking on this, click on the next button, agree that all of your information will be made public if we choose. And I got out of there really quick and said, "No, I don't choose that. Thank you very much."
Yeah.
It's becoming more and more
invasive.
That's the
word. Wow, you both just said the same word.
Invasive.
Yeah.
High five.
We were on a podcast about a week ago, and while Larkma was channeling, the hostess of the podcast was asking questions about AI, and Larkma pretty abruptly started disagreeing with the questioning and saying, "Don't go down that road. That is not going to help you. Wait until humane, helpful technology arrives. Don't put all of your energy into AI at this time, because it will end up being more harmful than good." And I think the response wasn't real happy with that commentary.
She said, "But I use it for everything." And Larkma said, "Not a good idea."
And so these Larkma and this hostess were going back and forth. I mean, it was great. It was a great discussion. But Larkma finally said, I think you need to find a balance between wanting to use it and being careful of how you use it. And I think that rang a bell with this person. And the discussion got more lively and more interesting, because then she said, I understand what you're saying, and we do need to be careful. So it was a really interesting sort of debate about, well, is AI helpful? Is it humane? Is it a good thing? And
Well,
it,
it's couched in good things, Cullen, you know? One of the things that I did get to hear about this morning before I had to come to the show here was that, this idea of, having an AI take your blood and run it through a series of tests and discover what it is that you might or might not have in the future, for example, cancers or other debilitating diseases, and that AI creating a messenger RNA vaccine specifically for you. And it sounded suspiciously like, the COVID virus, like, was that like some kind of precursor to see if that can work? If will this work? And, on the surface, it sounds so cool, right? That, oh yeah, this is, how you can not have cancer, and, God only knows how much that will cost, right? It might only be the billionaires that can afford to get that. But on the other hand, what if the AI decides that you're no longer useful to the planet and codes you for destruction, death?
Mhm.
it's
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 plausible.
what you're explaining, and
Scary.
I'm really glad you brought this up. What you're explaining is, it all sounds good. It all sounds, it's for you. It's going to enhance your life. It's going to make your life better. But the trouble is, it's a half truth. It's not really what they're advertising. And that's the part where we need to be careful. We need
Yeah.
we need to be very vigilant and very observant about things that sound better than maybe they can really be in reality. And uh, advertising has been all about this for 100 years, about, this is good for you. It will enhance your life. You will like it.
Right.
It
Be like everybody else,
yeah, it'll
right?
give you
Live the high life.
it'll give you more leisure time. It will make your life easier and better. And a lot of things that came down the pike did not give us any of those good things at all.
No. Well, and here's the danger of this. These are Aquarian ideals. Aquarius is
Mhm.
an idealistic sign. And ideals are great, right? They're kind of the imaginative seeds for the future. They're if I can conceive of something, then I can create something. But often, because it's relegated to air, there's no grounding in it.
Mhm.
So the grounding, the Saturnian part of the sign, which Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius, is missing in some of these pie in the sky ideas. And, if if we don't think about it in terms of, well, that is a great ideal that we could create a vaccine that would keep people from getting cancers or what have you. But what's the ugly side of that? Well, if that can happen, then we could just tweak that same thing and cause you to get it.
You know,
When
there's an author named Sylvia Engdahl. She's a science fiction author, and she wrote a book that is very much that exact scenario.
Mm,
It pretty much covered that's, people believed that this is what they needed to do, and everybody was socially engaged, and this is the process, and trying to step out of it and do something to help yourself was not allowed.
Yeah, it was
mm,
interesting. Medicine took over politics. Medicine took over all governing avenues, and you could not fight it. It was like the Gestapo of engineering and control. And if you didn't agree, you got put in jail very quickly for the rest of your life. So
And given whatever kind of shots
they wanted to give you. So yeah, it was really,
It's a
really
very,
interesting.
very interesting, forward-thinking book.
Yeah.
yeah. Sylvia Engdahl, Engdal, or what?
ENGDHAL.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Um, in the same vein, they were talking about 2025 as the year of AGI, which, as I understand it, is the super intelligence wing of AI, where they are, and it's like the holy grail of, all of the developers now are trying to be the first to bring in AGI, where it would be more intelligent and think more widely and deeper than a human being can. And
Well, thank you.
No, I don't buy that. To me, that's
this is what they say. I mean, who knows? It's not here yet.
yeah. Well, yes, there's so much behind the curtain that we don't know about that's going on. I wrote down a funny note the other day. I said that artificial intelligence is as oxymoronish as military intelligence.
I don't think we need say more about that. Oh, Lordy. So anyway, as I was listening, and I have not, there's still a good half of that video to watch. It's chilling, but it also, sparks something within me to uh, rebel against this whole idea of where we're headed and how to do that intelligently, how to do that in a spiritual sort of way. And I kind of feel like we're about ready to do this as we get Neptune March 30th moving into Aries and Saturn May 24th moving into Aries, July 17th, those two coming within 10 seconds of an exact conjunction. Their exact conjunction is actually February 20th of next year. And, this is like hopscotching us ahead. And all the while, Pluto holding space there in early Aquarius, never going back to Capricorn now, at least not in our lifetimes, and staying in the sign of Aquarius now, plotting, if you will, the next technological developments. But it's interesting because Aquarius is a humanitarian sign. And this artificial intelligence is almost like humanless rather than humane. So I don't even know what to think anymore about it. It's just like there's so much around this topic and what it can or can't do. And it's going to come down to each one of us to, command what we want in this world, or else we're just going to get eaten up, swallowed up, taken away by the powers that be, these misters of the universe, I call them, right? They think they're so special because they're men, they're white, and they're billionaires.
Yeah.
They think they know best.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm surprised there hasn't been a revolution yet to stop these men that you're describing, because it's known by so many people what they're up to. I mean, it's past time that people say, okay, we're not going there. This is not the direction we feel comfortable with. But humans are so passive about, they don't want to step out of their habitual, secure, and it's all an illusion, but they don't want to step out of that illusion of, well, my life's okay. There may be problems, but if I just keep my nose to the grindstone and I mind my P's and Q's, I'll be okay. And the trouble is that's no longer the case. We're highly past that stage in our industrial revolution situation. And we have to speak out. I mean, the discussion we're having right now with people listening around the world is truly important, because we don't agree with what's going on. And the three of us are voicing that disagreement. And that's going to make people think, oh, well, maybe I didn't think about that, or maybe I wasn't concerned about that issue, but I'm hearing something that maybe I need to be more involved with, maybe I need to be more vigilant about. And I think sharing stuff like this is really incredibly important.
Well, at least to wake some people up, because, a lot of people, this was another thought I was having this morning. It's Jupiter's in Gemini. I am a Gemini. My mind is everywhere at the moment. And one of the things I was thinking about was the Constitution of the United States. And I don't even know what triggered me to go there. But I will bet you that if I even poll my own family, and I will do this later because it's just fascinating to me, how many of them could even recite any part of the Constitution? Do they even know what the articles in the Constitution mean? I mean, they might be able to say the Second Amendment because of the guns, because my family they like guns. They don't go around shooting them, but they like guns. But there's so much more to it than that, right? And as you guys are passively sitting there doing nothing and watching all of your constitutional rights being taken away, that could only happen in an uneducated or undereducated and ignorant mass.
Mm-hmm.
And that is pretty much what has happened. And you can blame whoever you want to blame, the education system, the government, what parents, society, culture, it doesn't matter who you blame. The point is, if you don't know what your rights are, or what your country, whatever country you're in, I just happen to live in the USA. If you don't know what that is, you need to go look it up and find out what it is that you have as a right and what it is that your country stands for. In the US, we think, oh yeah, we stand for freedom. And can anybody recite to me what it says at the base of the Statue of Liberty?
Probably not.
No. Well, I blame one in particular thing, actually.
What's that?
9/11.
Mm.
We lost as a country, as a free population, with the Patriot Act that happened within days of 9/11, when all of those senators and representatives signed the Patriot Act without even reading it. They didn't even bother. It was a long thing. None of them, for the most part, even read what the Patriot Act was all about. The Patriot Act is absolutely responsible for taking away our rights from within our Constitution. When that happened almost 20 years ago, it's been a downhill, slippery slope since then.
Mm-hmm.
And the Patriot Act allows the government to do whatever it wants, to take away any rights, to take away any of the agreements of protection that the Constitution provided for us. I'm not even sure, and this is a joke, but I'm not even sure the original document is still sitting in a glass case in Philadelphia. It may not even exist anymore.
Hidden from sight. I bet you if I go to search for the Constitution on the internet, that I'm going to find some watered down versions, but maybe not even the real version. I don't know. I haven't tried, so I can't say that for certain. But it is certain that people are, and if the people are like this in the US, they're likely that way in other countries. So this is sort of a global thing about being so superficial in your education, or superficial in what you know, and what's possible. And it drives me crazy. But I am going to test my own family later and say, without looking it up on Google, do you know what the 14th Amendment gives you the right to? Because they probably don't know.
Well,
I mean,
you should have some cupcakes ready for those who can recite some.
I should, right? But that's the thing, right? That if we're not educated, if you're not educating yourself, don't anticipate that someone outside of you is going to educate you. Do it yourself. Find within yourself to go looking. Like, for example, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law were just at a doctor's office, and when they walked in, ICE was there. ICE is the Immigration Control, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying what they were doing. I have no clue what they were doing. But next thing you know, on the windows of the medical office was a whole bunch of paperwork about your rights as a citizen. If you have ICE coming to you for information about others, or if you have, witnessed something going on with ICE, and there are whole pieces of education going on right now about your rights as a citizen. If you are observing something that is illegally going down with the immigration and the immigration department, and also your rights if they try to bully you into getting out of their way, because you have the right, people, to film what is happening to a person in ICE that is interacting with ICE. And if ICE tells you that you have to move, they gave you the verbiage: I am exercising my right as a citizen of the United States of America to observe what is happening here and to catalog it for others to see your actions. It's beautiful.
Wow.
And I mean, I happen to live in a state that does not kowtow to Trump and will not allow that kind of stuff to go on, is to the extent that they can, right? I mean, everybody, I think, is in agreement that if an illegal immigrant has created havoc in this country, killing people or breaking laws and so forth, then they've lost their right to be here. We don't need that. I think nobody out there disagrees with that. But going into a doctor's office,
Yeah.
oh my God,
Well, that brings up the whole snitch thing that was created in Nazi Germany, that people were trained to spy on their neighbors and say, this is what's happening. You need to come and do something about it. It also was rampant in Russia too. Before Russia broke apart in '89, that was a really big deal to have government agents going door to door, asking people, well, what are your neighbors up to? What are they doing? Tell us. I mean, this is like a replay of something that should have never happened, but is cropping up again. And we need to be, you're absolutely right, Janet. We need to be very careful about this.
Yeah, I'm sure because I mean, I don't think I was alive during this time, but there are still people alive right now in the US that remember McCarthyism.
Mm-hmm.
The whole scare about communism and turning in, your neighbors who you suspected as communists. And it went rampant. It was ridiculous. And we are on the verge of something like that. Only instead of it being about communism or being about, any kind of real negative aspect, it's I'm disloyal to Trump.
Yeah. Scary business.
Scary times.
Way scary business.
It is scary and it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous that people are so bleeping blind that they don't see what's happening. I asked several people that I know who had been Trump supporters if they'd even heard of something called Project 2025, or if they'd read Project 2025. Most of them did not ever hear about it, but the playbook is playing out in this country, piece by piece by piece.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a pretty project either.
No.
Yeah.
And that's the beginning. There's also Plan 2030, which is actually beyond the restrictive control issues of Project 2025. This stuff has been in the pipeline for a very long time, and most people don't even know about it. It's astonishing.
They don't know about it, and then even when they're told about it, they don't go look it up. I went and looked it up and read it.
Yeah, well, it's conspiracy theory. It's.
But it's not. It's real theory at this point in time. It's no longer in the realm of conspiracy because it's happening. piece by piece by piece.
Yeah,
And oh
absolutely.
God, I just don't where did the balls and the backbone of our Congress go to in this country? Like,
Well, I can tell you where. Corporate,
yes.
corporate America.
Yes, exactly right. When in what was it, mid 80s, when corporate America was allowed to be as a citizen and contribute to elections and what have you. Citizens United, I think it was called. And that just leached in so much money into elections that it's not what the people want anymore. It's about who's going to pay me for my vote. Who's going to pay me the most money for my vote? And you know, I I don't it just makes me go crazy.
Well,
It's so crazy.
it's mind-boggling that
Mhm.
it's so pervasive. It's so big.
The
It
amount of power that we give away
Mhm.
to
yeah
people that are not really there for your good benefit. They're not there to help you. They're not there to lift you up. They're just there to make money,
yeah
to get more power for themselves.
yeah.
And
And don't get me started on surveillance, because surveillance has to do with this money-making giant. All the big corporate energies are surveilling everything that everybody's doing, everything you buy. If you go to Costco and you buy a tray of hors d'oeuvres, a frozen tray of hors d'oeuvres, someone in the corporate world knows exactly when, how, where, what monetary kind of avenue you use to buy that. Every time someone buys a sweatshirt at J.C. Penney's, everybody in the corporate world knows your name, where you live, the day you bought it, how much you paid for it, and they are funneling all of this into a massive, let me repeat, massive surveillance. I don't even know how to describe it. Everything we do, everything we purchase, every place we go is known. And that is how advertising is promoting what we buy, how we buy, when we buy. Here's a really good example of that. If you buy something through the internet, as soon as you make that purchase, these very interesting advertisements start popping up on your computer.
oh,
Because
I've seen it. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me.
it's because someone is watching, and not just one someone, there are thousands.
Listening. They're listening. They're listening to me.
I'm sorry, it's the absolute truth. And
Oh, I know. You
it's
know what it
funny.
reminds me of, you guys? Have you ever watched the movie V for Vendetta?
I
No.
don't think so.
It's about the 5th of November gunpowder plot or something like that. Like it's more about based on British history. But what's so funny is they showed that these trucks would go down the roads of people's neighborhoods at night with these big antennas, listening to what people were saying about the leader, about the political environment, what were they talking about? What were they watching on television? And of course, now they don't even have to have trucks going up and down your damn road. It's in the air, it's in the sky, it's all the satellites that are out there and the, devices that can listen. Super scary.
Well, we've seen this. Google used to have cars driving around neighborhoods, and it said on the car, this is a Google mapping
Mm.
survey situation. But that isn't what they were doing. They were doing exactly what you're talking about based on the movie you're sharing.
Mhm.
They were actually capturing information from each household that they were driving through the neighborhoods in. And it's already happening. That's another realistic proof about the surveillance of everything we do. I mean, it's
Yeah.
astonishing how clever they think they are, but it's see-through. it's amazing.
Yeah. And, lest you all out there listening to us here today and even later think that we're all doom and gloom, let's shift this now. We have
Yay.
20 minutes. Let's shift this now into what it is that you can do, right? Because you are not powerless. Please get that out of your head right now. You are not powerless. You have a voice. You have your own money that you buy things with, and you have your own ability to go out and create a community of like-minded people, and you have your spirit, right? That's the biggest thing, the divine part of you that can be so much more brilliant than any AI could ever be,
Mhm.
right? And can, help you move through this really tricky cycle. But I don't think anybody can just sit back and watch anymore. I
No,
don't think that's wise. I
no.
don't think everybody needs to go out and be out, in the streets yelling with their megaphone, the end is near. But I do believe that everybody has a part to play in whatever country you're in and in whatever level you're comfortable with, even if it's just sharing things
Mhm.
that you're learning with other people, your
Yeah,
family,
yeah.
your
I think
friends.
one of I think one of the key things of the positive side, Janet, when you're naming off what people have, is we have the ability to quiet the mind and tell it to shut up, get the fear out of the way, and go into the heart and really listen. And if we do that, the heart's always going to guide us to what's best. It'll always take us in the safe direction, the right direction for us. But we have to be able to get the mind completely out of the way and just calm everything down, take a deep breath, and go into the heart and say, okay, I'm listening. Now what?
Yeah.
I think that's fundamentally what we need to be doing at this point. Our Pleiadian friends have talked about creating community for years, and they've told the public for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years that creating true community hasn't been possible yet. That the things that you're talking about, Janet, about people being passive or uninterested
Or
or
competitive.
competitive or whatever keeps people from unifying.
Apathy.
Yes, absolutely. What they've been saying in the last year or so is now it's time. The energies are available to really create solid foundational communities, and that 2025 will be a year to actually implement creating community. And I think 2025 and 2026 will be all about creating communities. And what you talked about earlier about getting together with your family and creating a food producing community might not have been possible last year or 2 years ago, but now the energies are supporting it and people are showing interest in it, and it's almost automatically happening at this point. So
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest positive things we can suggest or talk about is create community. Get together with like-hearted, like-minded people and do something. Just do something.
Do something. Do what is right for you. And,
Yes.
here's the interesting thing. We're sitting now in a human design week called Passion, right? This is the week of passion, where the sun is sitting at the gate 30, which is on the emotional solar plexus, and it is an intense gate. And it's really about finding what it is that lights you up. And not the same things light up everybody, but what lights you up, and live from that place and follow what truly excites you and inspires you. So if you're really inspired about growing your own food in a community or something like that, that if that's lighting you up, that's like a tell, right? The universe saying, go that way, do that thing, right? Help yourself with that or help others with that. If it lights you up to, just help feed the homeless or something like that, find what lights you up. That's what this week is all about. And also, the other question we could be asking ourselves this week is like, what is it that's been causing us to hold ourselves back, right? What is it that keeps us from really chasing our maybe that's the wrong word, but living out our passion and our deepest desires. Because underneath that must be some kind of fear, right? Something, some block or something that's stopping you. And then, we do live in this polarized world, this duality where there is the high and the low. And are you willing to embrace both the highs and the lows? And that come when you're pursuing your passion, because there's always going to be something, right, that shows up that stops or creates a block or a limitation. So that's a big theme. And then the earth during this period of time is in the gate of devotion, the gate 29, for those of you out there who are following along with human design. And it is a gate of saying yes, but saying yes to the right things, right? Not saying yes to everything. And sometimes, if you don't speak up, that's a tacit agreement to something,
That's
right?
that's in alignment, Janet, with the energy that we're in right now. We're in a 13-day period of devoting energy.
Well, the gate 9 or 29 is called devotion. So it's
Completely.
perfect.
Yep.
It's perfect. So, how these gates are kind of working together for us this week. And that, by the way, that's from the 13th. It actually began yesterday. The weeks in human design are, 5 to 7 days. They're not, or 5 to 6 days. They're rarely going to be a 7-day week in a human design way. And so the 13th through the 18th this week. So this is something that will all be sort of being worked through, right? And at this point in time, it would be acknowledging what you truly love and desire, what is truly meaningful to you. And then say a full-bodied yes, right, to the things that align you with your purpose. And embrace the journey, right? Even this part that seems so ugly that we've been talking about earlier today is a part of the evolutionary journey of humanity on this planet. It would have been something we were sort of, if you will, destined to grapple with and to live through at some point and decide how is it that we really want to show up. So this is a week to stop hesitating. Don't hesitate a minute longer. Start living fully in your passion, in your heart. So to Pia's point about being in the heart and letting your passions guide you to those things that are meaningful for you. And then the universe responds in kind, right? It tends to start magnifying and bringing or amplifying that energy and bringing things to you. So it's an interesting week we find ourselves in. And yeah, there are going to be times that the things that we see going on around us are going to be maddening. They are, sparks of, I don't know, rebellion that, might lead to full on revolution and war if we're not careful. But it's why we have to educate ourselves, at least so we know what is going on. It's not going to help you to be like an ostrich and hide your head in the sand and hope the storm blows over your head.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I think there are two elements that we need to use right now when you're talking about passion and you're talking about things that light us up. Sometimes changing what we're doing can be a little scary because it could take us out of our comfort zone. But I think if we use the element of trust and the element of courage to make those jumps, to make those leaps, if something excites us, if something makes us incredibly passionate about a new idea, a new job, a new hobby, a new way of being, it takes trust that it will work, and it takes courage to make the jump, to make the leap, because it's hard to step out of our comfort zone. It's a human nature thing. Well, if I do this, will it be safe? Will I be okay? Will it work? And if we use trust and courage, that will propel us into these new ideas, these new adventures, these new occurrences. So I think everybody needs to really, truly trust that it's going to work and have the courage to do it. And
have the courage to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for others, when you see something wrong or something, that is having a negative impact on someone else, don't be afraid. Don't run away.
I can give you examples. P and I have been in situations where we see a parent abusing a child in public.
Mm,
Say you're at a grocery store and a parent is just being ridiculously harmful to their child. We can make the choice to watch it and walk away, or we can make the choice to walk up and say, don't do that. You can't do that. You're harming this little being. Pia and I often take the active role of doing that. And it's scary as hell because someone could smack you in the face. If they have a gun, they could shoot you. But we feel like we can't just let someone abuse someone else if it's in our view of seeing it. I mean, it just doesn't work for us. And
yeah.
we can say that about animal abuse. If we see someone abusing an animal, we can't just walk away. We can't just say it's none of our business or let someone else take care of it. Maybe the police will walk by. Taking that action makes a difference. And I
Yeah.
think all of us need to be more proactive and not let things like that just slide.
Yeah. Be proactive with your heart, right? That
Yeah.
caring, empathetic, compassionate nature that you have as a human. It's your natural birthright, right? Unless something has gone wrong in your upbringing, maybe as a child, or I don't know. I don't know what to say about things like psychopathy and sociopathy. I mean, is it born? Is it created? Who knows? But most people on this planet have a very loving, giving heart, even if they have ideas that are separate to yours or different to yours,
Mhm.
um, or a lifestyle that's different than yours. That I thought we were past all of this stuff.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Well,
Apparently not.
we should be. We should be by now. I mean, it,
Yeah.
we've been here for a long time, and I honestly don't think we've done a very good job of evolving. I don't think we've taken advantage of how we could grow, how we could expand, how we could evolve. We seem to be on a squirrel cage
Well,
rotation.
apathy prevents taking advantage of opportunity.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it also is pervasive. I mean, there's a lot of apathy out there. Like, you talk to the younger people and they're so disgusted with everything that's gone on. They feel powerless.
Mhm.
And a lot of them, just didn't even vote
Mhm.
because they felt like it didn't matter, right? Their vote was, I don't know, a whole nother thing there, but your voice, your vote, your money, your time, your effort, your love, your heart, it counts. Use it to its fullest and its best out there in the world because people need that right now.
Yeah.
We all do.
We have the power individually and collectively to change things. And
Yes, we
We
do.
choose to do it.
and it's a choice. It's a choice. P is right. If we choose.
Yep.
Yeah.
I actually had this widget for whatever reason. I think when Windows 11 was installed or upgraded, whatever it did, there was this widget on my taskbar of my computer, and it would always have like this number that would flash up, like 1 or 2 or something, indicating new notifications. And so I was always being drawn to it and hovering my mouse over it, which took me into the whole news reel. What the heck was going on with the news? And I finally I figured out the other day how to clear that widget because I don't want to be notified 500 times a day about what is going on out there. First of all, I don't know the source of is it true?
Mhm.
And secondly, it's just too much. It's overwhelming, to get caught into that cycle. So find your widgets. And now, if there was a widget for only good news that was going on in the world, that would help me validate and create, a bigger uh, message of good. I would love that widget.
Well, the intention is to stir up fear and make people unsettled.
Mm-hmm. The word widget, Christine says, always makes me laugh. I haven't really looked at anybody's comments here today, and I'm sure there are lots of them. Let's go back to the beginning. Anybody have any questions for us? We have about 6 minutes left. Good morning, TD Hawk and Diana and Julie. And they're saying, blessings, Janet and Astro Design family. Welcome, Pia and Cullen. That is there. She's so sweet. J-Lo, good morning to you. Happy Valentine's Day. J-Lo says, welcome back. Tom, happy VD, everyone. Clap, LOL. Okay, Tom, you and Terry, too much alike. Teddy, good morning. Good fry love. Yay, Pia and Cullen and Janet. Nancy Ross, good morning to you. I love the show Preppers, Julie says. It was on Netflix during COVID. I wonder if it's still out there, but I bet they're more extreme than what I'm ever thinking of possibly doing. J-Lo says, my daughter learned this in high school. They use fish in the water also. The children ate the salad they grew. I'm thinking that was when we were talking about growing our own food and that kind of thing. And let's see. J-Lo found me a lesson plan. Please send it. It's probably a lesson plan about how to teach the Constitution, because that's what we were talking about. Teddy says, share the ice flyer I sent to you, Janet. It's scary. I would if it was a good copy, TJ. It's just too hard to read. As soon as I blow it up, it's going to be hard to, you won't even be able to see it. Kiki, I live in public housing and the fools still have Trump signs. I actually had a conversation with a couple of people that were Trump supporters because I wanted to know, what is it that you like about the guy? And their whole reasoning was because gas prices were too high and so were eggs. And he was going to bring down the prices of those things. And I'm like, how's that working for you now? Are you serious? Oh my God, people. I mean, and that, again, it just goes to this whole ignorance about what is really going on. You're only seeing what you want to see, but then maybe I'm only seeing what I want to see too. So I don't know.
Well,
MD, scary. And I think people will wake up to what is going on.
Good.
I think so. MD says, I can't even try to wake up my friends anymore. I became so upset. Since I'm in a shadow cycle starting today, I have to stay in harmony. So many of my friends and family are not there yet. Indeed. And, you know, I started a conversation on Sunday with my son, who is different politically than I am. And I said, you know, what do you think about all of this that's going on? And he's like, oh, I'm all for it. And I was like, oh my God, who are you? We did not raise you to be that way. And I just had to stop because I did not want I did not want that confrontation. Not in that space. We were there for a birthday party, so it wasn't the right space and time for that level of conversation, but oof, it blew me away. And let's see, Irene, good morning to you. She says, yay, I caught you live. She lives in Sweden. So welcome this morning. It's good to have you. And I think I don't see any other questions. TD Hawk says you can always bring love and peace into yourself, into your home, into your neighborhood. Another friend of mine was given a mantra. She was having some difficulties in her family, specifically related to, the politics. She leaned one way, someone leaned another way, and this numerologer friend of hers gave her a mantra. And surprisingly, or not surprisingly, such as the case may be, there's been this change in their relationship as, she's been repeating this mantra. And it makes me realize how much power we really do have to bring peace, to bring love into our neighborhoods, into our families, into our communities, because of what it is that we're focusing on. Instead of focusing on that news cycle that is dreadful, focus on love, something else. And there are always ways to bring love and peace into your world. I agree. All right. Pia, tell us what's going on in your life, because we're in the last minutes now, and you have something coming up February 18th, I believe it is.
Doing a 5 Tuesday mornings in a row of Voices from the Light, where I'll be bringing through various voices of inspiration, starting on the 18th and going every Tuesday after that. They'll be recorded for people who can't make certain days of the sessions that we're doing. There'll be time for questions and answers so that you can bring whatever your concerns, questions, things you want to know, deep things, bring them to the surface and get lots of different perspectives. Cullen will join me on the final morning, the 5th morning, and together we will bring through LARCMA, and LARCMA will share their perspectives. So please, if you're interested, look at the website, piaorleane.com, look under workshops, and you'll find the information. And I hope some of you will come.
PiaOrleane.com. There, it's there on the chat for everybody to see. And that sounds like a great thing to do right now. It is proactive. That's a word that's been elusive this morning. Be proactive in bringing, your voice, your heart to the experience of the world right now. We need it. All right. That is it from me today. Thank you, Pia and Cullen, for joining me. As always, it's so much fun. We never know what direction we're going in. And thank all of you for joining us today and listening. Take care, and we'll see you. Let's see, March, we will be back on our regular schedule. Is that correct?
Well, we're about to take an evolutionary leap, so I'm not sure. We'll have to get back to you on that one. We're about to apply some courage and trust and jump into the unknown. So I'll get back to you about when we'll be together again.
It should be around March 21st, but if not, we can do it another day. I'm always willing. I can't wait to share what your evolutionary leap is. So we'll see.
Well, you want to tell them?
Sure.
We're moving continents. We're making an international move.
We're moving halfway around the world in about 5 weeks.
Yeah, 5 weeks from now. So we don't know which end's up at the moment. It's all swirling around and beautiful chaos as it unfolds the way we're being guided to go. So evolution.
Hey, what city do you fly into that takes you to your ultimate destination?
Oh, we go from here to London, and from London to Calgary, and from Calgary to Honolulu, and then to where our final destination is in the islands.
Ah, so not the Seattle route.
No. 4 flights, 3 hotel stays, no place to stay when we land. We don't know where we're going. We are totally going on trust and courage into the unknown. But
Faith.
time to go, and that's what we're doing.
Good job. Listening. And if all of us had that level of faith, what a different world it might be.
Yeah.
Right? All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I hope I didn't put you on the spot with that, but
Not at all.
Okay, good. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see you on Monday. We'll talk about Mars moving out of retrograde. Yay. And a couple of other things that I'm sure you'll want to hear. Take care. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.